Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host LovelyCheesePizza here. Welcome back to GT. Trying to do my best impression of the guy that did Dragon Ball GT, which Dragon Ball GT would have been a much different show if the confines of that show involved it being Dragon Ball, but then all of the fight scenes were done in cars. Dragon Ball Gran Turismo. Which, that would have been weird. That would have been a very strange thing. I feel like it would have done probably a lot worse than what Dragon Ball GT already did. But then again, who knows? Maybe it could have been way better. There's no way that we're ever going to know that type of information, because I don't think anybody's ever going to make an initial D-style anime of Dragon Ball involving all of the fight scenes in cars. You want to fight for the fate of the Earth? Let's take it to the track, Cell. Or whatever, or Omega Shenron, I guess, was like the final antagonist of GT, so would have been that. He's like, you got a car? We're racing for pinks of the Earth. Dun 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 dun. Gotta summon the Eternal Dragon to get that extra horsepower in your car in order to be able to fight him with. I'm calling upon all the people of the Earth to help improve the horsepower of my car so that I may defeat Omega Shenron in ultimate battle. Please, I need everyone. By the way, we decided that for no apparent reason at all, we're going back into the super license test thing. I'm not going to spend the entire episode in here. I just wanted to do one. I figure it's a useful choice to go with in this way, to just do them every once in a while, because these things are a pain in the ass. And if I can be fortunate enough here to be able to come out positively on the other side with this on the first try, I'll be smitten, man. I'll be good to go with this. I just don't know if we're gonna pull it off. Oh god, I hope we pull it off. Please let me pull it off. Come on! 4, 5, yes! Oh, that makes me happy. We did it. That was good. Okay, well, all's well that ends well, I suppose. Okay, well, we got one done. So with that, what we were able to do in the episode prior was we finally finished up that endurance race. I had to step away from Gran Turismo for a little bit in order to kind of rebuild the sanity stock in my brain, because it was coming undone pretty bad, I would say. But in the process, we won the race by a lot, and we got this beautiful S2000 LM race car that, oh my god, I can't wait to use it. There's a lot of things that I can use this in right now, but I'm not gonna use it yet. I think what I want to use, I think we're gonna jump back into the Z06, because there is a thing that's coming a calling for us, and we must answer the call. So we're heading back to the Amateur League, is what I was about to say. But that's not what it is at all. We're gonna do the Stars and Stripes Cup just so I can have it out of the way. Just because. I've been seeing quite a few, actually, Corvette Z06s driving around lately. And so it's just like inspiring me to want to use it again. Then again, I also saw a really nice Honda S2000 just last night driving home from work. It was super awesome. It was like this really nice, kinda, not necessarily like a navy blue color. I think that'd be a little too dark. Probably about the same color as this Corvette Grand Sport up here. This dude right here. It was kind of like that color, but not. It didn't have the shine on it. Just didn't have that nice little glossy finish. But all in all, it was beautiful. Honda's only really had just a few modeled cars that I have really liked, of which my two favorites are the, well, I guess it'd be the Honda NSX, because, I mean, both they and Acura do make one. Shit, that was not good. That was actually really bad. And despite that, we're still in first. But yeah, definitely the NSX, and then I would say the Honda S2000 is probably my favorite Honda model car that I can think of offhand, at least. It's probably something I'm forgetting about hilariously, but we'll roll with that for now. There's just something about the way that S2000 looks that just is super appealing to me, and so I can't wait to take that S2000 race car out and really give it some use. It's gonna be pretty nifty. By the way, I need to get this out here because it's starting to bother me more and more every time I see it. But why are we still making? And by we, I don't mean like the collective we and the people that are watching this we, but the people that were involved in it. Why are we still making, movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise? For God's sakes, let it go, man. We're on what, the 8th one now? The Fate of the Furious? It's like, you really should have stopped with this after, like, the second one. I mean, once you kind of went into Tokyo Driftland, where you had Lil Bow Wow in there, it was kind of a weird departure, and then they tried to bring it back in later. Just, I don't know. Like, and, like, in the last few movies, like, it has totally gone away from even being about street racing at all, as far as I know. I have only watched bits and pieces of these other movies because I can't bring myself to do it. But from what I understand and what I've been seeing out of these trailers over the last few movies that have come out, it is much less about actual street racing and much more about just being like a fucking insane action movie with things that are absolutely implausible. or impossible, actually. I just saw in this new, Fast and Furious movie that's coming out, there's a scene in there where somebody shoots this giant fucking torpedo out of a submarine, in like the polar ice caps or some shit like that, and somebody's driving like a Humvee on top of it, and The Rock dangles himself out of the Humvee or whatever vehicle the fuck it was. I don't really care, but he dangles himself out of this thing right next to this torpedo and fucking kicks it. He just kicks it, and it changes course and goes and flies into like a tank or another car, and it explodes. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? You can't just... you're probably not going to be able to be driving the same speed as a torpedo, I would assume. I don't really know all the ins and outs of average speed of a torpedo as it's driving. Yes, there's a pilot of one of those things. As it's, floating across a fucking, iceberg or whatever. Something tells me that you would not be able to change course of it by merely kicking it with, there's like no strength in that because you're dangling out of a fucking car. I mean, you're not going to have any power behind that. Not to mention the torpedoes weigh a shit ton. I know The Rock's a big man, but he is not big enough to kick a fucking torpedo and have it change course at like a 45-degree angle and just go straight into another car and blow it up. I mean, that's just about as ridiculous as... it's actually probably more ridiculous, but... as some of the things in some of the other movies that have come out, where you got guys that are, driving cars through exploding airplanes, and then you got people that are getting, they're getting their cars dumped out of like a C-130, which that's not impossible. Like that shit happens. But it's just like, what does that have to do in any way, shape, or form with that movie series at all? Like, why? At what point do they need to be like, we're gonna start this street race by dumping all you guys out of an airplane from about 25,000 feet in the air, just because. Then there was like another scene at one point where Dom and I think Michelle Rodriguez's character are both she got ejected off of like her crotch rocket bike or like out of a car or something, and she's about ready to like fly off of a cliff, and then Dom like dives out of his car or whatever, I think, like also off the cliff, and like spear tackles her in the air, and they like end up not going off the cliff, and neither one of them are hurt. If you spear tackled not only just anybody at all, but a small, frail woman, at a speed like that, you would literally break her in half. She would not survive. I mean, that would be a better way to die than, you know, flying off a cliff and, you know, probably getting impaled by a cactus or something. And, I mean, that would be a pretty interesting autopsy to go through. She died not necessarily from the impact of the fall, but more so the fact that she got impaled by a cactus and every single one of these things just penetrated her body and obliterated all of her organs. It had to be that. But yeah, dude, I think they needed to stop that series a while back. The reason why I'm saying part of this is that I watched the first one. I watched the original Fast and the Furious last week. And I'm not saying that it's like an amazing movie, but it was a movie that I found perfectly entertaining because I loved that movie. I've always been big on street racing, you know, games and such, and I do love cars. I don't have like an insanely extensive knowledge of cars, especially, you know, as far as street racing is concerned, but I loved watching the first two movies because that's when it was still, you know, at its core, still primarily about street racing, realistically. I mean, there was some other stuff going on in there. There was some other, you know, character development things going on, but just, you know, there were some good racing scenes in those movies, and that's why I loved it. And I didn't want to see people flying out of helicopters and kicking torpedoes into fucking tanks or whatever. I didn't want to see any of that. That doesn't appeal to me at all. Not to mention that the fact that Paul Walker's dead, they really should have stopped the series right there. I mean, I don't know why they still feel the need that they needed to cash in on some more. Like, oh, well, you know, like one of, if not the main character of this entire franchise is now 100% dead. He is not alive anymore, but hey, let's continue milking this cash cow for all she's worth until her udders are all soggy and all crusted out or whatever. And, well, you know, fuck it. We can make some more money. Not going to be getting anything out of those Wheaties sponsorships, I'm sure, because nobody even eats Wheaties anymore. Do they actually even still do that? Do they still? I'm not really a guy that, you know, that eats a lot of breakfasts anymore, and so by that I'm not really shopping for cereal. But do they still put like athletes or, you know, or still do like celebrity sponsorships for the front of Wheaties boxes anymore? Like, I don't feel like they do. Maybe I'm wrong here. I feel like at least somewhere on Twitter they would have been like, you know, there would have been some type of sports account that would have been like, oh, look who's on the front of you know, this iteration's Wheaties box, blibbity blue. It's fucking this guy from this thing. I don't feel like I've seen that anywhere in the last probably like 10 years or so. What I really wish I could have done, though, when I was growing up was get a personalized one with, you know, that had me on it. Who knows? For all I know, my parents totally did that, and somehow it, you know, it got, like, thrown away or, you know, sold at a garage sale because somebody would have actually wanted to buy that for some reason. Hey, let me buy this random customized Wheaties box with a young child's face on it that I'm going to have to try to explain to somebody later as to, hey, Dan, why do you have a random Wheaties box with a child's face on it that wasn't actually made by Wheaties? I don't know. I just thought it was cool, I guess. I don't know. This thing seems pretty weird. Also, we're killing it right now. I mean, there's at least one Dodge Viper in here, and we are rending flesh from bone from that fool right now. And realistically, everybody, I mean, this Corvette's got a shit ass of horsepower in it. This thing has just got, you know, it's got the doilies on point. It has nothing to do with doilies, but it's got plenty of it. So I think we are going to be in good shape here. I'm really glad that we decided to take on this challenge, because it is going to be a nice, relaxing one, and we were able to, you know, improve our standing in the Super License Test Challenge thingy, which is nice. I don't know what the next one is because I didn't bother looking at it, but I'm sure it's going to be, you know, just as much of a pain in the ass as the other ones that we dealt with. Boom. Cool. All right. Ooh, the Z06 is going to win, huh? I mean, he's not going to win. Ooh, that was a close one. Within less than a second. Give me all your money. Oh God, I love that Viper. I had a model car of that exact same one. It was the white with the blue stripes on it, and that was my favorite. And it even came with like a little cool like podium thing to put it on. It was like this little plastic thing, and it said Dodge right under it, and it had like this cool little plastic backing on it that said Dodge Viper, and it was super sick. Kind of wish I still had all those. But I think when I moved a really long time ago, when I was like 12, I think they got lost in that move. It's either that or I may have sold them at a garage sale to try to get a little bit of quiche. All right, so we're 100 for 118. That's not bad, but I still want to get to that 85 percentile. I think we'll be able to do that pretty easily throughout the course of the amateur league, though, because there's going to be a lot of these races that we're just going to fucking destroy people in. I can already see. I mean, you're already seeing it as we're, in the early goings here. We are kicking some serious ass. So I'm feeling pretty good about our chances in all of that. But, my friends, we're going to stop right here. When we come back on the next installment of Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, the Ultimate Driving Simulator, we're going to go back into the Stars and Stripes challenge. We're going to knock out the last 2 races in there, and then we'll probably get started on something else. Actually, really quick, let's just see what the 4th one is. Because if those don't take very long... Ooh, okay, that could be interesting. There's a couple of turns in there that are kind of rough, but we might be able to take a crack at that because it's not a very long challenge. So we'll see if maybe we can knock out S4 on that as well. So until then, my friends, this is your host, the Cheese of Lovely Pizza, saying thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye. Next time on GT.